Are you a good friend? Now, you might think like, yes, I'm a great friend, but we're just going to double check and be sure. So stay tuned to this episode of Wonderful Life. Hi, I'm Mary Dittman. I'm an award-winning business professor on the collegiate level and the creator of College on Fleek and One-Derful Life. Wonderful Life is my way of describing how it feels when you've made peace with being single. I know there are plenty of women out there who love being single and they say like, I don't want a man, but I've never felt that way. I've always wanted to be married and have a family, but I'm well over 40 and that hasn't happened for me. And for a long time, that was really a source of sadness for me because a big part of my definition of a fulfilled life includes being a wife and a mother. But I got to the point where I said, the singleness does not appear to be changing, and it might not change. And I just want to be happy. And that's what Wonderful Life is about. It's about creating a life where you're happy and you're truly content. It's not about getting to a place where you have like sour grapes and you say, I don't want a man. Because I do, I want a man. And it's not about getting to a place where you just resign and give up and say, well, I guess I just better accept I'm going to be alone forever and make the best of it. No, that is not wonderful. Wonderful Life is about creating that life where you're happy, you're content, you have joy, because that's the kind of vibe that's going to attract your Mr. Right. But then if he never shows up, you're happy anyway. Now, I think we've all had that friend who ditches us when she finds a new man. And when I was younger, I was that friend. I mean, I would like cancel on friends because he asked me out for a date, or, you know, I'd have like a really bad cold or something, but believe me, I'd get up and I'd get it going to go on a date with somebody. But then if I had plans with a friend, I'd be like, I don't feel well. And I'm not saying you should go out with your friends if you're sick, but like I would cancel on my friends just because I was like, I'm just tired. And listen, it's natural when you're in a relationship to just focus in on that relationship. And that's part of how we're wired as women, that when we're in a relationship with a man, we really focus in on him and we make the relationship our priority. But a smart woman knows that you're going to need your girlfriends because your guy isn't going to always be there the way that you want him to be. One of my best friends is married, and she's been married the entire time I've known her. But what she'll do is when she's leaving work, she'll call me on her way home because she wants to process the day and tell me every little detail of who said what, and her husband doesn't want to hear it. His response to most stuff is like, well, whatever. I mean, he's a nice guy. I really like him. Don't get me wrong. But she tells me, she's like, well, I need for you and I to like process and talk about what does everything mean, because when I get home, he's going to say, how was your day? And if I say other than it was fine, he loses interest. And you need friends other than your couple friends that like you go on double dates with. Because if you break up and your only other friends are couples that you two spent time with, then they're almost always going to feel like they have to choose someone and they might not choose you. And then if you've let your friendships go, then when you do need your single girlfriends, they may not really be around because they moved on because you were never available. One of my girlfriends, every time she has a new beau, she gets pretty scarce. And it used to hurt my feelings because, you know, like I'd call her and say, let's have lunch or let's have dinner or whatever. And she'd say, okay, let me check and get back to you. And then I wouldn't hear from her for months. And it would really hurt my feelings because, you know, I would feel like rejected. And then she would be telling me how, you know, she's going out with her guy and they're going out with their friends and she's spending time with the couple who set them up. And it would just make me feel like, oh, okay, you got plenty of time for everybody, but not for me. All right, so here's where I'm going to take a little twist that maybe you didn't see coming. What I had to learn was that, you know what, she doesn't owe it to me to spend time with me. It is not her job to keep me happy and entertained. And listen, I love her, I want her to be happy, so if she's in a relationship where she's happy, I think that's cool, okay? And she does not owe it to me to make time for me. The other side of that is I don't owe it to her to drop everything just because she has a free evening. And sometimes that has happened with my friends. They'll call me last minute and say, oh, my boyfriend has to work late. Do you want to grab dinner tonight? Well, I'd love to, but I already have plans. I was dating someone for a year and I really thought it was serious, mostly because he led me to believe it was serious. And he intentionally led me to believe we were getting married because we talked about it. Anyway, during that year, I had a girlfriend that we always had a standing Friday night date. We would go work out and then we would go get smoothies. And I think literally in a year, I canceled on her maybe 4 times. And it was always in advance because I would say, hey, in 2 weeks, we're going to be out of town, or in 2 weeks, I'm going to be out of town. But she got a new boyfriend, and I mean immediately. It was, oh, I can't do anything. And then on my birthday, I didn't hear anything from her. And she knew it was my birthday because about 5 days earlier, she had texted me and said, I know your birthday's coming up. We have to celebrate. And this was like less than 2 months after my guy and I had broken up. I mean, I was really devastated. So it's my first birthday, like with this fresh breakup. And I didn't hear anything from her on my birthday at all. And then 3 weeks later, she calls and she's like, oh, I don't want you to think I forgot about your birthday. And I'm like, well, you did. I mean, she didn't send a text, no emoji, nothing. And then she was like, I'm just so busy, but now what I can do is like maybe in 2 weeks, I can maybe get together because we need to have dinner and celebrate. Now, I'm never free on the weekend. I can do Wednesday nights, every other Wednesday, and every now and then I might be able to do a Sunday if my boyfriend is busy. I was like, oh, okay. So I said, okay, let me check my calendar. I'll get back to you. And I just thought, no, I'm not going to beg you to squeeze me in when you've made it very clear that you don't care. And glad it's working out with your guy. Now, like I said, my friends don't owe it to me to prioritize our friendship, especially when they're in a relationship and that's their priority. I get it. But what I've also learned is I don't owe it to them to drop everything because they're free or they've broken up and now they need my friendship. And what I've really learned here, I'm going to use a word that you may have heard before. It's called detachment. And to be detached doesn't mean you don't care. It just means that it's like you're taking your claws out of people. You're just saying, you know what? I love you. I'm going to give you the freedom and the space to do what you want to do. And I'm going to give myself the freedom and the space to do what I want to do. And, if those two things can intersect each other, great. So for me, what that means is I have a pretty structured, full life. I have set times that I like to go to yoga. I prefer evening yoga classes because I like to work during the day. Daytime is my most productive work time available. So I work during the day and then I go to my yoga class in the evening. So a lot of times if a girlfriend says, I'm free for lunch, well, I'm not, I'm working. Or I've made other plans. I have lots of friends and I have many things that I go out and do. So a lot of times if a girlfriend calls me last minute and says, oh, my guy just told me he's working late, you want to go do something? Well, I legit already have something going on. And actually, I find that makes me a healthier friend because I'm not just sitting around all the time feeling rejected. Like, well, I never hear from her. I wish she would call me. And then when she finally does call, I put some guilt trip on her. Well, if you've ever had a friend who does that to you, it's no fun. And I don't want to be that friend. Plus, by having many different friends and many different things to entertain me, I'm not waiting on one person and kind of putting all my happiness on them. Because there's only one person responsible for my happiness. Guess who it is? This girl. And I think that this is good because if my Mr. Right ever does come along, then I'm not going to glom onto him like I'm some kind of a leech. I'm not going to be like, oh, none of my friends have time for me, but you're here. I mean, I've already created this life where I'm busy and it's full and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And so if he comes along, I have room for him to be part of it, but I'm not going to just drop everything and, zone in on him. So I guess what I'm trying to say is give your friends some freedom, okay? Take your claws out, let them do what they're gonna do. If they're not available to you because they're busy, that's okay. Then you need to get busy with your own wonderful life. And you never know. In the course of going out and doing some stuff, you might meet your Mr. Right. But even if you don't, you're gonna be happier. Now, it's really hard to be motivated to go out and have a fun life if you're struggling with a broken heart. And if that's you, you might want to check out our ABCs of Healing. It's a free video where we show you how to get over a broken heart quickly so that you can get your happy. So if you go to bit.ly/ABCs of Healing, we'll give you immediate access to that, and you'll be able to look at it anytime you want. And Wonderful Life is a dialogue, not a monologue, and we want to hear from you. I want to know, do you give your friends freedom? Put that in the comments and let us know how you feel. You can always connect with us at wonderfullife.com. We post a new blog there every Friday. You may want to join our newsletter list. And we have some cute Wonderful Life gear there for you as well. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Wonderful Life.